Hello everyone and welcome to the New York Empoleon's Week 6 Team Builder for the PBAL. We are going to be taking on the Outback Komalas this week, coached by Jetman99. Again, all I have is their Discord names, so I'm not sure if they have a YouTube channel. If they do, it will be in the description below. If I can't find it, then I will not put it there. If they end up telling me in a comment that they would like me to, if you ever see this, Jetman, then feel free to tell me and I will add it to the description. But anyway, Jetman's team is sort of the mirror match. Not exactly. There's a couple of similar mons. And by a couple of similar mons, I mean he also has Dragapole Ninetales, which is kind of wild. But his team is Dragapole, Barraskewda, Pelipper, Sylveon, Arctozolt, Bronzong, Mudsdale, Ninetales, Serena, and Liepard. So, right off the bat, you see pretty decent speed tiers, but nothing between 100 and 72. Which is interesting. So I have decided to rock out with this team here. We are going to be rocking out with the Choice Scarfed Braviary. It is going to be jolly natured with enough speed to outspeed Dragapult with the Scarf. He has very few Brave Bird switch-ins that can also take a Shadow Claw. So Brave Bird is super spammable against his team, and mostly that's what's going to be doing. It's also my defogger this week in case rocks get up, but I don't know. I'm hoping they don't, but Mudsdale is a huge problem, and so definitely could set up rocks if it does get the opportunity to do so. Next up, we have Bisharp. Bisharp is going to be rocking out with a Focus Sash, Ironhead, knockoff Rock Polish, and Sucker Punch. Again, with the Rock Polish set this week, since it just does so much work. Same moves, but slightly different EVs. Just 132 speed, and Adamant allows me to outspeed a Dragapult at +2, which is super nice. Gives me a little bit of extra added bulk. Not that that matters too much, because I do have the Sash, but maybe come into play here and there in certain situations. Ironhead is great coverage for his team. I mean, just Dark and Steel are really good coverage for his team. So I'm just going to be rocking out with those moves and see how this goes. It's not necessarily going to sweep, but it's certainly going to be able to break some mons, get a hole broken wide open. Next up, we have the Dragapult coming this week, and like I said, a no more spec set. This is going to be a physically offensive Dragapult with a Colbur Berry, allowing it to take potentially a Sucker Punch from his own Dragapult, or just any sort of dark type move that gets thrown around from anything, since there are a handful of mons on his team, like Liepard or Barraskewda with Crunch that could try to attack me and do some damage. So Colbur Berry will keep me alive, and then Phantom Force does a lot of work against his team, plus Sucker Punch can really put in a finest of work. U-Turn is there because it's Dragapult, and Dragapult loves to U-Turn, and then Dragon Claw is just decent coverage for his own Dragapult, where my Phantom Force will do more, Sucker Punch does enough, but like Dragon Claw is just, I don't know, it's just there. It's good, decent neutral coverage on things like Liepard and Stab, and so I put it on. Next up is my Steelix this week. It is going to be rocking out with the Body Press. Oh, I didn't talk about my Dragapult's EVs, but it's just Jolly Max Speed so that it can speed tie with his Dragapult. Next up is the Steelix this week, and Steelix is going to be rocking out with the Impish Nature, Max HP, Max Defense, and Body Press is mostly all I'm going to be clicking, but Thunderfang is there for the Pelipper and the Barraskewda. It almost OHKOs Pelipper. It does after rocks or any Body Press damage, it will OHKO the Pelipper. So this thing is going to be holding the Pasho Berry, so it can take one water type hit, even in the rain from Pelipper. Barraskewda, since it's going for physical attacks, is actually easier to take. Stealth Rock is really good against his team, and I definitely want to try to set those up. And then Toxic is just decent against like the Mudsdale, things like that I just want to wear down over time. Next up is the Lapras this week, which is going to be not a Perish Trap Lapras, but instead going to be Freeze Dry, Surf, Toxic, and Ice Shard. Ice Shard really for like the Dragapult or something that gets out of hand. Just try to get a little bit of extra chip, or maybe the Barraskewda like lives with a Sash or some crazy tech. Just pick that off maybe. But Freeze Dry actually does really well against his team. His team is actually incredibly weak to Freeze Dry, since it adds the Barraskewda and the Pelipper as weaknesses. Then Dragapult and Mudsdale and Serena all don't appreciate it. So definitely a helpful move to have access to. And then Surf hits other things that resist the Freeze Dry, like the Arctozolt and the Ninetales and the Bronzong. So decent coverage all around, and Toxic is just useful against his team. Just, again, similar thing that things that want to switch into this don't want to take a Toxic for the most part. And finally, we are going to be bringing Leafy on for the first time. Leafy on Soth, my boy. He is going to be knockoff, actually it's a she apparently, I didn't mean to make it a she, but Soth's a she now. Knockoff Leaf Blade, Swords Dance, and Sunny Day with Chlorophyll as the ability, and 244 speed and a Jolly Nature, which would allow this thing to outspeed, I believe, Scarf Scarf Pult, possibly. I'll again put the calc up on what exactly I was outspeeding, but Knockoff Leaf Blade does really well against his team. Swords Dance, if I can get the boost, I'm not necessarily expecting to get the boost, but if I can get the boost, this thing will do a ton of work against his team, and will really help me in it. Just checks so many threats on his team that it's just so useful to have access to it. And Swords Dance really can allow it to set up and do really well in the long game against his team. So anyway, that's going to be what I'm going to be rocking out with. I will see you guys back here with that battle tomorrow. We have decided we're going to do team builders the day before, so we don't necessarily see you guys on the same day, but I'll see you guys back here tomorrow with the battle. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the PBAL content, and obviously that's where I'm going to be bringing. There is some other stuff down the road, and I'm excited to be bringing you guys that content later on, but for now, this is it, and we're going to be seeing you guys back here for a battle tomorrow. So thank you everyone for watching. Take care, everybody.